Thursday night, 8 p.m. hits like a hammer on steel. Rumble lights up, we're loading the wheel. Bible laid open, screens burning red. Me and my man cutting through the dread.
Head to truthmedia.com, grab that raw feed. No corporate chains,
just truth, plant the seed.
I'm the shadow hunter, she's the warrior flame. Tracing justice, live, torching the game. Shadow lights explode when the clock strikes 8, and arms riding hard, crashing through the gate. Drops turn to fire, darks tear the veil. Truth and media blood, we never will fail. Tracing justice, running hard and true. Thursday 8 on Rumble, me and you. Husband and wife forged in the fight, digging graves for lies on the freedom's light. Great awakening roaring, feel that rebel fire. Truthmedia.com, taking it higher. Lock it in, brothers and sisters. Faith like iron, no surrender, no rust. Rumble's our highway, in truth we trust. From morning to cold to the midnight ride, tracing justice forever, no place to hide.
Dawn and justice mornings, Thursday night thunder. Rumble at 8, tear the veil asunder. 22 burning, this love runs deep. Man and wife standing, no promises cheap. Tracing justice, running hard and true. Thursday 8 on Rumble, breaking through. Husband and wife side by side in the war, digging deep for truth forevermore. Great awakening blazing, set the night on fire. Truthmedia.com, lift it higher.
Welcome to Tracing Justice. I am Josh the Justice Cometh, and this is my beautiful wife, Tracy Taylor.
Hey, y'all.
How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm good.
You looking pretty good to me,
Oh,
so I think you're doing pretty good.
I'm doing good.
So, guys, thank you and welcome back for another episode. So tonight, we're continuing our journey through Q back to the beginning in episode 4. What we're going to be doing tonight is Digi had wrote an article about checkmate. We're going to go over it. We're going to discuss a little bit of it. And we also have a special guest tonight, Freedom Fire 1776. We've been teaming up with her and Yeet Force a little bit here and there because we've been bringing some receipts, and they are known for bringing the receipts to us.
Yeah.
But before we go any further, we are broadcasting from Rumble, and we are rolling on Rumble right now. So if you're watching us over in the Rumble chat, make sure you give us that thumbs up, give me that repost, and we are also live on YouTube. So if you're one of my tubers surfing on the tube, make sure that you give me that thumbs up as well. And we can't forget about our family over there on pilled.net. So I've already got a check-in over there. So you guys are wide awake. You should be wide awake getting ready to watch AJP tonight. So make sure that you give me that red pill and repost over there. And my X chat is being very, very excellent. And they are flowing already in. So thank you for that. And gosh, guys, I don't even have my Facebook pulled up. Oh my gosh. So guys, if you don't know, we're about 10,000 strong on Facebook now. So we are definitely getting up there. And that is thanks to Spammer Girl Q. She is our Facebook manager over there. So guys, thank you all for it. And if you're watching us from Facebook, give me a thumbs up. Or if you really like us, give us a heart. You know, that would be great too. So, man, are you ready for tonight?
I am.
I'm going to tell you what, guys, I wasn't feeling very well before the show. I'm just going to be honest with you. I had to take some nausea medicine. I don't know what was going on with me, but I think we're going to be okay now.
Yes, we are.
All right. So what I'm going to do is, before we get started with everything, tonight's episode is brought to you by justiceshrooms.com and justicepetclub.com. So I want to go over a couple of products with you, very first and foremost. So the first product that we've got is the Corios Versicolor. It's one of their most inexpensive products, but it's also the most important product that's out there. What this product does, it's actually turkey tail mushrooms. So, and I think Digi just popped in, so that's awesome.
Yes.
So we're going to be seeing Digi a little bit later here in just a second. So our, Versicolor mushrooms, it's also known as turkey tails. And basically it boils down to this. It gets you back into balance. It gets your body back into being able to fight its own battles with its immune system. And that is one of the very most important things in our bodies that we can do for it. So if we've got foreign entities that we eat all day long, let's just face it, that will help us process all this stuff and get it out of our bodies. So, and again, that's the Corios Versicolor. Now, if you want the same thing for your furry friends out there, we offer Mush Puppies. And it's the same thing in that bottle in a dog biscuit. And guys, let me tell you something. I heard, I think it was this morning in the chat, somebody said my dog's taking it right now, and the mobility of my dog has increased like 10-fold.
Wow.
So yeah, and I see that just about every morning. Somebody, a testimony from somebody in the chat because they have tried our products. So again, if you're interested in getting yourself back in balance, go to justiceshrooms.com and pick up your Corios Versicolor. Or if you want to get your furry friends back in balance, make sure you check out Mush Puppies at justicepetclub.com. All right, so let's go through our chat, then we're going to bring in some of our friends that we've got backstage. Okay. So let's go to the X chat first. So you said that you wanted me to do the chat, right?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Kilburn was first. Did you say Kilburn was first?
Yeah, Kilburn,
much.
let me tell you something about Kilburn. Kilburn has been with us a while over there on the X, so we very much appreciate that. And Kilburn reposted the stream for me. So, and again, guys, if you want to help me out over on X, repost the stream for me. Get my stream into somebody else's feed. That's the most important thing for us.
Fighting algorithms isn't fun.
Yeah, and especially with my new account over there, I've got like 23,000 now. Far cry from the 128 or 121 I had.
129.
129, yeah.
Yes, it was.
Oh, well. So, again, Kelly B also checking in over there. She is one of our ex-subscribers as well, too. Yep. So, thank you so much. And
Love
Kilburn saying good evening all. And Neville, I have personally met Neville, and awesome dude. I can't wait to see you again, my friend.
Yes, for sure. That was in D.C., right?
Yep, that was in D.C. Dude's tall.
Yeah, he's tall.
So we got Cynthia also checking in. I saw her on the stream this morning on Dawning Justice. And guys, if you don't know, I do have a morning stream at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard that's called Dawning Justice. It's where I quickly go through the news. So check us out on that. And Dental Lee checking in saying, oh, great, I made it.
I'm glad you did.
Awesome. And Kalina, hey, Kalina.
North Carolina.
Western North Carolina, so you're on the coast.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'd love to see where everybody's from. If you want to put your state. Just put your state in there. I'm always curious about that. We've had people from overseas, Japan, all different places. So I would be interested to see that. It's very, very good to know where everybody's kind of at.
Yeah, so we got Dawn also checking in. She's also one of our subscribers over there on X saying, hey. Cindy Rocks 260, one of our very, very good friends. Hi, Tracy, Josh, and friends. So Terry also reposting the stream for us, and there is Mama Fox coming in. And let's see who else we got coming
Mama
in here.
Fox. She's such a sweet, sweet soul.
Awesome.
She has been there for me many times when I needed somebody to. She's
in our super secret backroom chat.
There is no super secret backroom chat.
All right, guys. That's not good to lie. But anyways.
It's not super secret.
No, it's our fam chat. But anyway, so we got Sunshine PSG checking in over there on Pill.net. And ZZ Haw says, Ohio.
Awesome.
I'm from Ohio here. So, and we've also got Bambi Rose, Pennsylvania.
Nice.
And Sunshine also checking in from our sunny state of Florida. No wonder her thing says sunshine in it. So
yeah.
And also on YouTube, got If You Say So 1010 checking in saying, guys, thank you for all you do. Digi Rio Linda.
Yeah, Rio Linda.
Real Linda. And Digi is backstage waiting to come on. So
so is Irish Patriot.
Yeah, I see. Well, I just saw him.
Well,
I don't know
and then
what
he
happened.
went away. He was there and then he went away.
I'll get him on stage one of these days.
Yeah.
All right, so over there on Facebook, we have Michael and Jane and Kathy also giving us some love over there, so thank you so much.
Welcome.
And our Rumble chat. Let me get ready.
Debbie 57.
Yeah, Debbie V 57. Good evening, everyone. And Kelly B 910. Hey, family and friends. And Freedom Fire 1776 is waiting backstage. She's saying hi to everyone. And Nana 2112 checking in, saying evening, everyone. And my buddy Brouhaha, one of the OGs out there. So he says, how's my friends doing tonight? We're doing pretty good. And Christine G 68. So Christine, make sure you let us know about your scan as soon as you know something. Fam, let's send some prayers to Christine G 68 because she's had a scan. There might be something going on there. So please keep her in your prayers. So Nana 2112, I think I said that already, but hello again. And Kilburn's also double dipping over there for me. So thank you, Mary Cullinup, saying, hey, guys. And there is our main mod for our show, Spammer Girl Q. Thank you. And let's see, Marty Man. Hey. How's it going, my friend? Neville checking in. Also, 929 NAN. Rabbit of Truths. How's it going, my friends? And how do you say that?
I can't read. DeCirio?
DeCirio? Is that
blessings, friend. Jesus loves you. Amen.
Yeah, absolutely. And we got Wham001 checking in as well, too. Awesome. And there is Yeet for us. He couldn't join us on camera tonight, so he is going to be rooting us on from the sidelines. So thank you so much for that. And I think we're Patriot. Hey, what's up? What's up, my friend? Thank you so much for coming in. And there's
I like that name, that username, Patriot.
Patriot. Yeah.
I do. I like that.
I do like that.
Twice Barb.
Oh, there's our girl Twice Barb coming in, checking in, and Seth Larrabee, the preacher,
my
also
friend.
checking in. Prayer Garden, how's it going, my friend? Prayer Garden and I have had a past, and I think we're finally starting to patch things up a little bit. I think we're starting to understand each other a little bit. So, Prayer Garden, I'll give you my thoughts after the show about what you asked me on X. So, I haven't forgot about you. I've just been driving and working today. Let's see here. Yeah, Prayer Garden, make sure that you keep Christine G in your prayers because he said any prayer requests. So.
Steph Seams.
Yep, Steph Seams checking in as well. And I think we've got just about everybody here.
There's Shelny.
Kelly Ross, Texas. I think
Awesome.
that's a new name for us. So welcome in, and Shellin1227. So thank you. We see a lot of our Tracing Justice family that can't make it for Dawning Justice in this show. So there's Karen Holcomb. So
From
thank
Missouri.
you.
Awesome.
Yeah, Missouri.
Seth line in the chat talking about he's in Antarctica.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
Well, I heard that him and Ingersoll Lockwood are pretty good friends, and that's how we found out about Antarctica. But anyways, that's a story for another day. Ariana 1, so thank you for checking in. Gosh, guys, I can't keep up with this chat. Ardentnik also checking in, so thank you so much. And I think I've got everybody. If I missed you, I didn't mean to miss you. That was not my intention.
I'm seeing people from all over.
Tamara Blystone checking in. Hey, I finally made it. I see you on X all the time. So, guys, we got to get rolling. So, Christy, thank you for checking in over there on X as well, too. But we got to get rolling. We've got a good show for you tonight. Mm-hmm. We've got a debut of Irish Patriot, and he is backstage. So we're going to bring him on in a minute. We've got Digi backstage, and we've also got Freedom Fire backstage too. So guys, what I'm going to have to do real quick is I'm going to have to adjust some of our cameras real quick. So give me just 1 second here. So before I start bringing everybody on here.
So everybody can fit.
Yeah, everybody can fit. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, Miss Ozit's in there. Nice to see. I've been seeing her online, so I guess it's a her. It could be a. I think it's a girl with Miss. So good to see you.
Thank you so much, guys. So we're going to get rolling. We're going to bring on our first guest, and her name is Freedom Fire 1776. How is it going?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good.
We're good.
Good.
The queen of receipts.
Yeah.
Queen of receipts. The good kind.
So the next guest that we've got coming on, that he is going to help us through his article that we're going to be going over here in a little bit. His name is Digi, Digital Soldier. Chef Digi, how is it going, my friend?
Hey, how's everybody doing tonight?
Good, man.
It's good to hear your voice.
Yeah, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, I had to move some things around. I don't know that I can stay the whole time, but I'm here now. So
awesome.
Right.
Well, you stay as long as you can.
Yeah, I was going to tell you, I'm going to plug in for as long as I can.
All right. Awesome, guys. All right. He is making his debut to the stage of podcasting. And welcome, Irish Patriot. How's it going, my friend?
Hey, guys. What's up?
Oh, nothing much, man. I'm sorry we didn't get to hook up this morning, but I'm so glad that you were able to join us tonight. So.
And it's his birthday, so happy birthday.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Yeah, Josh, sorry about this morning. I actually got mixed up in the time. I actually thought it was 8 p.m. Eastern, so that's where I went wrong on it. And I was like, oh my, I wasn't even at home at the stage when you actually texted me. I was like, oh no.
Oh no.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. It's okay because I basically ad-libbed the entire show this morning. Hey, but you know what? I can roll with the best of them though. So I'm just so glad that you're able to join us tonight. So Irish Patriot, I want to start with you tonight. I want to introduce everybody to Irish Patriot. What is Irish Patriot about? How did you come into the movement? How did you come into knowing about Q and things like that? So I'm going to let you kind of just talk about yourself for a little bit. And, I want to go ahead and ask you some questions after we get done with kind of like the initial introductions. So take it away, my friend. Tell us a little bit about Irish Patriot.
Yeah, so basically it was really around 2019, 2020 where the COVID came about, where I kind of started to see things. Now, I had been on X for a long time. I used to do a bit of gaming, so I kind of started to see the Q movement and the likes of yourself, a few other guys, OG Anons and stuff like that,
Hmm.
that I started to follow. And I started to do my own research then from that. And every rabbit hole I went down, it took me to a new rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Um, and I started to learn more and more. And I suppose probably over the last 3, 4 years, I've really got into it more. And obviously, my goal is obviously to awaken people over at this side of the world because, as you know, over here, the mainstream media is quite tied up, and a lot of people are asleep.
Yeah.
In America, you guys are quite ahead in terms of what's going on in the world and things like that. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because of the commander in chief. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
indeed. But the whole movement as a whole, I learned basically everything from you guys, like the Americans and what I know is from the Anons and stuff. So I kind of follow on and kind of just try to put out the truth, really.
Hmm.
That's kind of what I do, and hope to help others, really, and guide them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I love your accent.
Oh,
I
thank you.
I do. I do. I love a man with an accent. I don't care what kind.
Appreciate it. Yeah, well,
Yes.
I don't like my own voice, I'm not going to lie to you, but yeah, we get that a lot here with
Yeah.
the Irish accent. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you
Well,
guys.
Yes.
I know, man. You all have got an uphill battle because you all are basically starting in 2015 for us.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
guys are really just starting in the awakening process over there. So tell me a little bit about how things are over there. As far as what people are thinking over there. I mean, what are you seeing over there in Ireland right now?
Right now, at the moment, what I do see, because obviously myself I've been awake, I've been telling people for a few years now of what was coming in terms of the mass migration.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
At the start, I got, no, that'll never happen here in Ireland. We will never get immigration here and stuff like that. We'll never get invaded in a sense. And well, now you can see, what's going on the ground. And at the moment, a lot of questions are being asked in terms of immigration, especially because you can see with the crimes, the knife crimes, the rapes. It's a daily thing now, and not just here in Ireland, but the UK as well, and Europe as a whole. But yeah, it's what I do see from 6 months ago, and this is actually not that long ago, but I do see a lot of people. I have to be honest, asking the right questions. I done a space the other night, and it was actually amazing to sit back and actually hear others tell me things that I learned, say, 2 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and who are aware of what's going on around us. Because there was a lot of asleep, and as you just said there, you stated 2015, yeah, we're starting out in a sense, and a lot of people here still follow the television
Yeah.
and still watch the news and still follow that stuff, Facebook, I try to put as much up there for personal people because, people don't see what's going on. They're either working full time, they come home, they watch the news, so they don't really look into things for themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at. But I do see a lot more awake, I have to be honest. And I do see a lot more coming together because Ireland has a lot of division over the years, especially we have the north of Ireland, Northern Ireland, which is Catholic Protestant. Then we have the south as well. So we've had a lot of trouble here in this country in the last 50 years. And, again, that's because we have people in government, two different parties, one on one side and one at the other side. And my aim, as always has been my aim and my goal is to bring both communities together. That's something that's been a real problem here in this country, and a lot of people have suffered, in the past with it in history. But I feel we're making headway with that, I have to say, over the last, I would say, 6, 7 months, definitely.
Well,
People
that's
are
what
definitely coming together.
I was gonna ask you. Do you think that you could bring both sides together? Because here, that is, I mean, people are so extreme one way or another. It's really hard for that. So, what do you see there? Do you think that's possible?
I actually do now because I stand, obviously people, my religion and stuff. I'm Catholic, but I don't care in terms of sides. So I stand neutral in regards to it also. for me personally, I would stand on both communities, if you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And for me personally, I would be aiming to bring both together. But as you said, yeah, there is extreme, and we still have that on each side. We have a side, whereas they would be socialists in attempts, so communist type of style, and we do have that a lot here in the north, more so than anyway, the nationalists. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's 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 possible. I do see that we have no option. And there's a lot of groups that I'm a part of on Facebook, that involve both sides, and they have said themselves that they see more in common with Protestants than they do even with the ones in the south, because they're seeing what's going on down there. And right now it's very bad. It's scary. Nobody wants to let their children out. Um, it's it's a very bad time
Yeah.
in our history here in this country, and the government aren't doing nothing, as you know yourself. They have signed up to this agenda, and they won't bow to it.
Yeah.
That's sad. It's so sad when it's like it's in the people's hands to
It
do
is
all of
really.
this. Yeah.
It really is. And I've told this to people. It really is up to us. It's up to us to. And I would love, for me personally, like you see what America done, what Trump did with a movement and stuff, and how he brought people together and formed that type of a movement, that style of a movement, and got people united together. I feel that's something we need here in Ireland personally.
Yeah.
And I feel if we could do something like that to bypass this division and this narrative seeding and the hate that they have installed into people, then I do believe we could turn a corner, without a doubt.
So, I remember, before you got famous, you you were part of our back channel chat, and and I remember waking up one day, and I was like, I woke up Tracy. I said, Tracy, wake up, and she was like, what? And I said, Irish Patriot just got reposted by Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was sleeping. Literally, Josh, literally, I was sleeping, right? And I woke up, all these messages, and like my followers, I was like, what's going on? Do you know what I mean? It was a massive shock to me. And then the other time when the commander in chief, President Trump, actually shared my post on Triff.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got the sentiment. I was like, there's no way. I was like, no way. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That was,
Yeah.
for me, it meant a lot. Do you know what I mean as well?
Oh,
Because like
yes.
I'm from Ireland, I'm not American, but it's the fact that he seen it and he appreciated what I was doing. So for me personally, that was really nice. It
Yes.
felt really good,
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I've had some hat tips from POTUS, but nothing like that. I mean,
Yeah.
I would have been jumping up and down for weeks.
I was, trust me.
Yeah.
Trust me, I was.
Yeah.
Josh, I really
well,
was.
you were excited when he shared your meme. They didn't even
Oh,
have
yeah.
your name on it.
Guys-
But this is awesome. I mean, like for him to share, your
Oh
actual.
yeah, the card. Is that the I hold all the cards one?
Yeah.
That's the
That-
one, isn't it? Yeah. Yep. I remember that, Josh. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then all the MSM started talking about it, and it was on the
That's
night
right.
shows. I texted my daughter and I said, "You see this meme?" They're like, "Yeah." And she said, "Yeah, Daddy, I saw that." And I'm like, "That was my meme. I made that." And there's a whole story behind that, we think, but that's for another day, though.
Yeah.
Uh,
So that was
my-
awesome for him to do that for you.
My
That
daughter's
was.
my daughter's only 5. Well, she's 5 now, and she knows. Like she comes down and all she talks about. Are you watching Donald Trump? Are you watching Donald Trump? And that's literally, And I do have a video. Obviously I don't share those things, but I must send it to you guys. But she's actually singing Donald Trump as king. So she's either well learned and stuff like that about
Yeah.
things. So
That's
yeah.
good.
So I see a lot of cloverleafs in our chat right now.
That's awesome.
So guys, let me tell you something. It's where we go one, we go all worldwide.
That's
You
right.
are not in this
Yep.
fight alone, guys. Just remember that we are rooting you on from over here, from across the pond.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you
just,
guys are.
yeah.
I have to say, you Americans, and I mean that when everything was going on and there was protests and stuff, you guys really stood up for Ireland here, and you really backed us up, I have to say. And we really appreciate that from across the pond as well, because being united, being together worldwide, that's what we have to be together,
Yeah. We're in it together, right? I mean,
Exactly.
that's exactly right.
So I do want to talk about something real quick that you've recently come out with. I want you to give us a little bit of context. So you recently published A Plan to Bring a Future to Ulster. Did I pronounce
Yes.
that correct?
Yep. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, awesome. What pushed you to do that, and what reaction have you had so far from the community on that?
Well, on Facebook, there's been quite a lot of views on it, and I have showed it to quite a few people, like personal and stuff like that, and they have really liked it. Now, they wanted me to touch more. It's only a draft, Josh, so it's kind of
Mhm.
like it's still up to be amended, if you know what I mean. So
Mhm.
Right.
it's kind of just something that I've come together with, but it's to go back to the basics, really, and really to give power back to communities because we're not as big as America, as you know.
Right.
But what I would like to do personally is that each community holds its own power, and gets to make its own decisions. So basically, bringing it back to basics and taking the power away from London because where I live, so we have a government here in Belfast,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and any decision making that be's done here, it has to go to London to be approved, to be accepted. So we're not making our own decisions, that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
We have politicians, they'll tell us this, they'll tell us that, but really it doesn't matter what they say, it still has to go to London to be
Yeah.
signed, to be approved. And that's under an agreement,
It should.
the Windsor Framework, that's exactly what it's under. And we have that agreement. But my first goal would be to remove that, that them chains, and because Scotland has their own parliament, they have their own government, and they can actually make their own decisions,
Yeah.
but we can't.
Mm.
So for me personally, I believe we should take back that democracy and that democratic control, basically to give the decisions to our people, and obviously to let our representatives make the calls. That way. The other factor would be is the wastage of money that we spend. Here for we have a population of what 1.9 million,
Wow.
and we waste 1.2 billion on public, civil service. So these are private. Yeah, I think 24,000 is employed here just in the civil service. That's not including politicians and things like that and their salaries. So we're wasting 1.2 billion a year
Mm.
just
Wow.
on that one thing. You know,
Wow.
which is a lot of money considering the size of the population.
Yeah.
It's not a big population. It's really not. Then we're wasting 8 billion a year in health. And what I will tell you on that regard, our health system is absolutely awful. It is waiting lists 3 to 4 years.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
our mental health service is non-existent. We have the highest rates across the UK in terms of suicide and drug using.
Mm.
Um,
Oh my
there's a lot of
God.
failures here, guys, and again, it stems from back in the days where we had it really bad here. The troubles, and people have never got over that stuff. Bombings and people walking the street with machine guns and things
Mhm.
like that. And we've always had these two parties who've always kept that divide. So personally, there's a lot in this country that needs to be changed, and people just lost interest in politics here. To be honest, a lot of people don't even vote. I have to be honest. I
Did they
talk to a
just
lot of
give
people.
up?
They just give up. Yeah, honestly, they've given up because you hear the same script as you know yourselves. It's like puppets, and they're reading from the same script, and it always comes about when it's election season.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And they'll tell you they'll do this, they'll tell you they'll do that, but really it never changes. Nothing ever changes. It actually is getting worse. And we also have child poverty in a first world country. We have actually child poverty here. That's where we're at in that sense as well. And like I have two young children, and there's no way in this world I want this country to go this way.
Right.
Definitely not. Especially with the severe immigration, we don't have the resources already for our own people. Never mind, anybody else. I don't mind people coming here the legal way, which I set out, and
Yep.
doing it the right way, and it has to be all done through the proper channels. And we know where they're coming from. Do you know that? But
Mhm.
they are not coming through the proper channels. The thing about us is we have no border between the north, the south, so there's no border checks. The UK is a free zone to travel to here, so they can travel to Dublin. They can then travel right up here to the north, and nobody knows who's here. Do you know what I mean? They
Yeah.
have no documentations. They could commit crimes, and we don't know who it is.
Playbook, no.
You know, absolutely none at all. You know,
Yeah.
like the guy that was nearly beheaded in Belfast. I'm sure you've seen that.
I
Yeah.
did.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
well, they got his nationality wrong 3 times. First of all, he was Somalian. Then it was Sudan, and then it came out it was Chad. So that tells you where we're at in terms of they don't have a clue.
Yeah.
You know, and that's
So,
worrying.
Freedom Fire, you've done a lot of research on London and things like that. So you're aware of all of this that goes on in Ireland in the UK connection and
Not like that. I mean, not. Hi, Irish Patriot. Nice to meet you, by the way.
Yeah, you too, Freedom. Nice to meet
Yeah.
you finally. Yes.
Yes. I mean, not like that. I mean, I find this fascinating and interesting and sad because it's awesome to actually have people that live in these countries that we're actually hearing things firsthand. Because obviously, the stuff that we see, we don't really know if what we're seeing is real or not when you're seeing stuff. So it's amazing to actually have people saying, "No, this is what's really happening."
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that's great. Not that this is happening, but that we actually have a connection to say, yes, this is really happening. My question was, you said you're in Ulster, so what county are you in? I mean, are you part of like the UK? Or are you part of?
Yes.
How does that work? You are part of the UK. You're not part of Republic
We
of
aren't.
Ireland.
Yes, so we're not the
Yeah.
Republic.
Okay. That's what I
So
was
we're
going to
not the
ask.
Republic. Yeah. So that's
Okay.
I don't class it as that. I say Ireland. You know what I mean? It's for me, it's an island. They drew on a border,
Right.
on the map, but but under the legal standpoint, yes, Northern Ireland, North of Ireland is controlled solely by London. It's the
By
UK.
London. That's
So
okay. That's what I was
we
wondering.
follow
So,
what they set out. We kind of follow what they do.
right. Right.
and
Yeah, when you said that everything goes through London first, and so that's why I was wondering because I know that
Yeah.
you've got like 9 counties or something there,
6 counties we have. Yes, 6 counties.
6, and then 3 are the Republic, I guess, right?
Yeah,
That's what I was wondering. Okay, gotcha.
wow.
Okay, that's crazy, man.
It is. It is. So much division, and it all came from, as you can imagine, the city of London.
Right.
To begin with, that's the other thing. And I will say this, and it's my belief, personally, that I believe that they still control Dublin as well. I don't believe they ever left. I'm not going to
That's what I
sit
was
and
gonna
tell lies
ask.
about it.
Yeah.
I don't believe that the Crown ever left London. I believe that was put under the guise that it was the Irish took back that control. But I do believe that London pretty much still controls there, and Europe as well now as well. Europe has also got their claws in to the politicians down there in Dublin as well.
I believe that too. Yeah.
We don't belong
I mean,
to Europe because we're part of the UK and they left EU. But the idea is it really doesn't matter. The UK still follows kind of what Europe's doing anyway, regardless, if we've left or not.
Digi, I wanted to ask you a question because I was just thinking about something the other day, and we go through the drops, and you're about there's a chessboard there in the drops. There's and we're going to be seeing some of that in what we're fixing to read, but we all know the drops, Digi, where it says when do you attack the king, the first, middle, or end. So we see what Trump is doing. He's attacking Iran right now. Ukraine is getting attacked right now. We're closing in on everything, Digi. And now, I think this is just my opinion, but I think what that drop means is that we're going to be going after the crown last. We're going to be going after the UK and not physically attacking the UK, but in some way, some shape, some form of forcing out that government and getting the good government in. What do you think about that, Digi?
Sorry, I was on mute.
That's okay.
Mute button.
Where's AJP's mute button when you need it?
Yeah.
So the sequence on the chessboard on the drop you're referring to about, when do you attack the king, for anybody that's never played chess, that's typically the final move. That's when the game's over. Is when you threaten the king. Is when you start targeting the king and going after the king. But before you can even get there, you got to remove the pawns. You got to remove the bishops. You got to remove the horses and the rooks, and you got to take out the queen. There's so many protection layers that are built into the game of chess in order to protect that king. And when you think of the real axis of evil, so to speak, I guess, in the world, there's really only three pillars of that really come to mind, and that's the Vatican and the UK, and then the deep state entrenched DC establishment over our government, and the three of those, basically, in my opinion, are the king. The three of those make up or represent the king, and I believe all three of those are going to come tumbling down at the same time. But there's still so much work that's still got to be done. I mean, Trump is playing the long game. He has been for a while. Where Obama was the first half of a 16-year plan, and Hillary was supposed to be the second half of that 16-year plan. I mean, they didn't drum up that 16-year plan overnight. This has been a slow walk, a slow build over the course of time, which is why, for a lot of people, they're having a hard time understanding why can't Trump just go in there and just wave a magic wand and it all be over? Because it's not that simple. I mean, Q even talked about, how do you get rid of a deeply entrenched enemy? Because that's where we are. We have an enemy that's so embedded and entrenched in so many different layers of society, not just in our government, but throughout the world, that this is a game of chess where, those other pieces have to be removed first so that they have no chance to fight back.
That's what you're seeing.
That's what we're seeing, yeah.
So, Irish, what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be reading one of, and if we got time, maybe we'll get to the second one, but one of Digi's 3-part series in his Future Proofs Past the Digital Chronicles. And we're going to be talking about checkmate. That's kind of why we're talking about chess right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so Digi, kind of preface this on, what we're going to be reading, and I'm going to let, whenever we're ready, I'm going to let Tracy do some of this reading because she does it a lot better than I do. So kind of preface this, what we're going to be going through. Mute. Digi.
While he's muted, was there
Sorry.
is there anything that you'd like to make sure that everybody knows about what's going on, or a message you want to get out to the people there that I don't know, something that you...
I personally, I tell a lot of people this, and especially ones that I'm close to, Irish friends and stuff on here, is that to avoid the noise. A lot of people is taking in the fear porn, and I keep telling them to steer away from that because, they're falling into the trap of that a lot, and they're getting scared and stuff. And we all know what they're trying to install there. They're putting fear into people when it's not true. I've told them to research deeper and make sure these things are really, real. There was a few things I did have to post out and stuff in terms of, there was meant to be a billionaire in DC who was buying up all the airports in Ireland, and things like that, But that's not true. I did a bit of research on it. So I would advise anyone, as I say, to stay away from that, the noise and things like that. And because there's a lot of people, so I urge people to look deeper, in my opinion.
Very
That's
good.
what I would like to get across.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Tracy and Freedom Fire really, really do, is they dig, when a headline comes out, Tracy and Freedom Fire dig deeper. They're like, okay, so what's really going on here? And we dig into news articles, and we dig into laws, and all of that to get to the signal and ignore the noise. So we need somebody like that, like you over there, Irish Patriot, doing
Yeah.
that very thing. And I don't believe it's any coincidence that POTUS and Elon Musk posted you and
Yeah.
reposted
Yeah.
you, because you need to be that voice over there for the people and cutting through the noise and delivering the signal.
Hmm.
That's what motivated me really, Joyce, as well. When that did happen, it kind of made me feel that, maybe I'm the voice for this side
Yeah.
of the pond, and that I can help my people. And I hope, because it's a dream for me. I'd love to make Ireland, whole again and united, and to
Yeah.
make it a great
Yes.
country. And I hope I can help others. I love doing it anyway. It's something
Yeah.
I enjoy doing.
Such a
So
time as this, right? Maybe God has
yeah.
called you to do this.
Yeah, I do believe so.
Yeah.
In my personal journey, I have to be honest, definitely. From my own personal experiences, it's just, I don't believe it's coincidence. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. No
Every
You know.
country right
coincidence.
now deserves to have their nation. Everybody
Yeah,
can, the whole idea of nationalism, per se.
yeah,
We are every nation deserves to have their nation, and so I do feel for you and your nation the same way. Those same people are in control, or trying to be in control, across the globe.
of course.
With you guys the same way. I mean, and obviously, uh, you all are so much closer to it, which is
That's right.
frightening. You are,
Yeah,
you are. I mean, I can't imagine that every time you turn around. I mean, the UK has the ability to say, we have the GFA, we have the Good Friday Agreement, and we're going to have a
that's right.
border poll. Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
that to me is insane. Just
yeah,
even thinking about that. And you guys are constantly having to fight for Irish national, for your nation.
that's
It's
correct.
it's absolutely crazy to me in that
And then we had a
aspect.
party. We did have a party. Sinn Féin, as you know, you Americans would know as well, with Sinn Féin and stuff, is that they were meant to be the Nationalist Party, but they've proven to us that they're the
They're not.
complete opposite. They lived under
Absolutely.
the guise of nationalism, and
Sure.
really they're socialist Republicans, and they are more towards the communism and
Yes.
this stuff, the ideologies and stuff, this trans agenda, the
Sure.
abortion, and I mean Catholic, an abortion. That
Sure.
is, we against that, and
We thank you.
it is murder in my eyes. And personally, that's another thing that I would immediately do, would be that any child that is conceived, that they have automatic rights, immediately, that that child cannot be
Correct.
harmed in any way. If the mother doesn't want the child, well, then the father has a chance. And if the father doesn't want that child, then it goes to a family who really do want a child,
Hmm. Yep.
who it deserves to go to. That's where I see it. But no child, in my eyes, should be
Right.
murdered. you
We
know
agree.
Right.
We agree on that.
Agreed.
That's exactly right.
So, Digi, when we're reading this article, if you want to stop and elaborate on something, please cut in. And, maybe I'll stop and ask you a question or something like that. Is that okay, Digi?
Absolutely, and I would also say this is going to be one of the more complex material, subject matters or material in which for us to go over in a long time. So for those that struggle to understand, this is a good show to take notes on.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely take notes.
All right, are we ready?
Yeah, did you want to preface it or anything, or because I kind of
Yeah, yeah,
cut you off?
yeah. I was just gonna say, for those who don't know, I do write on Substack, obviously under my personal Substack column, but I also, as a member of Truther Media, write a column for Truther Media, and that is my branded Future Proves Past, the Digital Chronicles series that I write for Truther Media. So far, there have been 5 entries that have been released to date. And today we're going to be going over entry number 3. And for those who aren't already subscribed to Truther Media Substack, the only way you can get these articles is through a paid subscription with Truther Media. But the entry that we're going over today, along with entry 4 and entry 5, all 3 of those actually coincide with one another. And the purpose of these articles is really kind of piggybacking off of what Freedom Fire and Yeet Force, and you and Josh and Tracy, what we were all discussing a couple of weeks ago on Tracing Justice, when we were talking about how the drops themselves seem to be layered. Like, we can go to QAG or Q Alerts, whatever, and we can look up a drop number, and we can look and read for ourselves what the drop says. But I'm actually arguing that there's more than just surface level material on these drops.
Oh, absolutely.
That there are layers in this drop, in each of the drops, and that you actually have to really focus and study a lot of the semantics of things that are being said, because one sentence, like if you read a particular drop, one sentence might actually stand out over everything else that's being discussed in the drop. And the reason for that is that sentence actually is connected to something totally different. And that's really what I have identified in these articles that I've put out, is more of a deeper story that Q is telling us. Because Josh, you mentioned a few minutes ago, we were talking about the game of chess. I am actually of the belief that inside the Q drops, a game of chess is actually being played. Like, it's not just a drop that talks about how chess is played. What I am arguing is that somebody is actually playing a game of chess, that there are actual moves and counter moves that are actually being played in real time on the grand scale, where everyone can see these moves unfolding as they occur, but you're not necessarily recognizing them for what they are if you're not connecting them with the drops, so to speak. So that's really, I guess, more or less the best way to preface that. Tracy, to answer your question, so if everybody is ready, we're just going to jump right in and get started.
Yeah.
So we're going to be reading the article labeled Checkmate, correct?
Yep.
All right. So I've got it pulled up because the link you gave me in our chat didn't work. So I think I got it.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Do you want to read it, Digi? I mean, it's your word.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to try to read as much as I can. I've probably got about maybe 35 minutes, and then I'm going to have to actually jump off.
Okay.
So if we don't get all the way through it, Tracy, I'm going to pass the baton and have you finish.
Sounds good.
But this is entry 3 of The Future Proves Past, the Digital Chronicles. And the title of this one is called Checkmate, the Only Winning Move. All right, let's get started. The
Wait.
war game. What?
I'm sorry. I'm trying to scroll, but it's not scrolling.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there we go. Sorry. All right, there we go. Sorry.
Okay. So entry 3. The war game simulation is complete. Every scenario has been run. One outcome remains. The computer ran every simulation. Every single one. Thermonuclear war, conventional warfare, economic collapse, color revolution, stolen elections, deep state entrenchment, fake news, media blackout, lawfare, riots, sabotage. Every possible branch, every possible response, every possible countermeasure. It ran them all. And every path but one ended the same way. Failure, collapse, defeat. Except one. One path, one outcome, one move. The only winning move. Some of you may have just heard an echo from an old movie. A computer, a war game, thousands of simulations with one conclusion. The computer decided the only winning move was not to play. But here's the question that nobody asked. What if someone already knew that and built a plan that forced the deep state into a game they could never actually win? We'll come back to that, because by the end of this article, you'll understand exactly why that Cold War film from the 80s may have been one of the greatest lessons in strategy ever put on screen. Now, Josh, I want to stop right there. I know you were talking about war games a couple of weeks ago, and that's why I really was excited to share this article with you, because you were talking about the Whopper, right?
Absolutely.
That scene, the Whopper. Do you have that? Do you have that video?
I don't have it dialed up. No, I don't.
Oh, okay. So for those who haven't seen the movie War Games, it came out in the 80s. It had Matthew Broderick and what's her name? Ali Sheedy or something like that. Anyway, for those who haven't seen it, I highly recommend you go watch that old movie from the 80s called War Games. It'll really help you understand a lot of what we're going to talk about. But basically, we've heard the old cliche about how art imitates life. So when you watch that movie back then in the 80s, it just seems like, oh, this is a cool Hollywood movie. But in reality, it's actually, there's a lot more truth in that movie than what we realize, because that's what our government does. They war game everything. They game theory everything.
Digi, I've got it dialed up if you want it.
Yeah. Go ahead and play that scene if you can. That's a good. That's a good clip.
All right, let me get over here. Let me make sure we're still looking good. And away we go.
These computers give us instant access to the state of the world. Troop movements, Soviet missile tests, shifting weather patterns. It all flows into this room and then into what we call the Whopper computer.
Whopper, what is that?
It's the War Operation Plan Response. This is Mr. Richter. Paul, would you like to tell these gentlemen about the Whopper?
Well, the Whopper spends all its time thinking about World War III. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, it plays an endless series of war games using all available information on the state of the world. The Whopper has already fought World War III as a game, time and time again. It estimates Soviet responses to our responses to their responses, and so on. Estimates damage, counts the dead, then it looks for ways to improve its score.
But the point is that the key decisions of every conceivable option in a nuclear crisis have already been made by the Whopper.
So what you're telling me is that all this trillion-dollar hardware is really at the mercy of those men with the little brass keys.
That's exactly right. Whose only problem is that they're human beings. But in, 30 days, we could replace them with electronic relays. Get the men out of the loop.
Gentlemen, I wouldn't trust this overgrown pile of microchips any further than I could throw it. And I don't know if you want to trust the safety of our country to some silicone diode.
General, nobody is talking about entrusting the safety of the nation to a machine, for God's sake. We'll keep control, but we'll keep it here at the top where it belongs.
All right, gentlemen. I think I'm going to recommend McKittrick's idea to the president.
Okay, so guys, you just heard that, okay? And before we go any further in this, don't think like Q has game planned out thermonuclear war, okay?
No.
Q has literally gamed out World War III, but what the war is between Trump and the deep state of the entire world. So
Correct.
Take it away, Digi.
So, real quick, I wanted to point out Cindy Rocks in the chat. She said, "I think of the Whopper as Q." That's actually a pretty doggone good assessment there, Cindy. Because yes, in the movie they call it Whopper, but in many regard, that's really kind of like what I see Q as. Josh, you talked about this a couple of weeks ago, where you talked about the drop where only 10 can confirm me, singular, right?
Right.
It's meaning it's one entity, not there's a team of people, but when it said can confirm me, one entity, like you, I agree that entity is a computer.
Yep.
And that computer is wargaming. It's simulating a million different possible scenarios. Like you said, it's not wargaming global thermonuclear war like in the movie, but it is wargaming like, okay, if Trump does this, then the deep state will probably do this. And then if Trump does that, then the deep state will probably do that, right? So It war games in terms of strategy, in terms like this move and then that move, and then this move and then that move. Hence the game of chess, right? So let's get back to the article where I left off. I said, but here's a question nobody asked. What if someone already knew that and built a plan that forced the deep state into a game they could never actually win? We'll come back to that, because by the end of this article, you understand exactly why that Cold War film may have been one of the greatest lessons in strategy ever put on screen. What if the war was already won, not because the invisible enemy was weak, but because every possible move they could make was already anticipated? Why did they spend years insisting everything was random when the same names, the same events, and the same outcomes keep appearing over and over again? And what happens when you realize the operation never failed and everything you're seeing now was always the end game? Friends, we're not watching a game anymore. We're watching the execution of the only move that survived every scenario, the only move left standing when every other path collapsed. And it's happening right here, right now, in real time. The operation was already underway. You just couldn't see it yet. Because before you can recognize the move, you have to understand when the game actually began. So grab the kafefe and strap in, friends, because we're about to walk through the cue drops, the signals, and the markers, and show you why the real ones who refuse to abandon the map never lost the coordinates. The simulations are complete, the board is set, the pieces are in motion, and the final move is already on the table. Let's connect some dots. You didn't think the statement by POTUS regarding calm before the storm was just random, did you? Cue. All right, the board was set before you woke up. This is not a new game. This is not an improvised response. This is not chaos. They want you to believe it's chaos. They need you to believe it's chaos, because the moment you see the board and the moment you trace every move back to the origin point, the illusion they built over decades collapses in an instant. So let's trace it, and let's go back to the opening moves. Cue drop 34, November 1st, 2017. Cue clearance Patriot. My fellow Americans, over the course of the next several days, you will undoubtedly realize that we are taking back our great country, the land of the free, from the evil tyrants that wish to do us harm and destroy the last remaining refuge of shining light. On POTUS's order, we have initiated certain fail-safes that shall safeguard the public from the primary fallout, which is slated to occur 11.3 upon the arrest announcement of Mr. Podesta, actionable 11.4. Quick pause for those who might have missed Tracing Justice last week when Josh and Tracy covered Trump's big announcement. That was 11.3 written all over it. So y'all need to go back and watch that if you haven't seen it.
Double meanings exist.
Yes. Confirmation to the public of what is occurring will then be revealed and will not be openly accepted. Public riots are being organized in serious numbers in an effort to prevent the arrest and capture of more senior public officials. On POTUS's order, a state of temporary military control will be actioned and special ops carried out. False leaks have been made to retain several within the confines of the United States to prevent extradition and special operator necessity. Rest assured, the safety and well-being of every man, woman, and child of this country is being exhausted in full. However, the atmosphere within the country will unfortunately be divided, as so many have fallen for the corrupt and evil narrative that has long been broadcast. We will be initiating the emergency of broadcast system during this time in an effort to provide a direct message avoiding the fake news to all citizens, organizations, and or people that wish to do us harm. During this time, we'll be met with swift fury. Certain laws have been pre-lifted to provide our great military the necessary authority to handle and conduct these operations at home and abroad. Cue. Now stop. For those who might have missed it, read that drop again. Not as an anon, not as a believer, not as a skeptic, but read it like a strategist. Not as a prediction, not as a prophecy, but as a contingency plan, as a war game, as a command structure that's walking you through possible scenarios years before the public ever saw the board. Because that's what strategic planners do. They don't wait for the move, they prepare for every possible move. Now ask yourself, what jumps out? Read the nouns, not the names, the nouns. Q wasn't talking about arrests. Q wasn't talking about personalities. Q wasn't talking about headlines. Q was talking about infrastructure, fail-safes, military authority, special operations, broadcast systems, legal mechanisms. Think about that for a moment. Why would all of those things appear together in the same opening drop? Why would a message allegedly focused on political corruption spend so much time discussing command structures, emergency authorities, operational continuity, and communication networks? Because that's not how you write a press release. That's how you write a contingency plan. That's how military planners think. Not in events, in scenarios. Not in headlines, in responses. Not in predictions, in branches. And once you see that, the drop starts reading very differently. Suddenly, it isn't describing a future event, it's describing a framework prepared for multiple possible outcomes. A board, a set of pieces, a collection of moves already considered before the game began.
Hey, Digi.
Yes.
So what's really funny about this is that you were writing these articles, and then I wrote my article on Q.
Yep.
And we had no collaboration between the both of us at all.
I know.
And it's almost like that my article prefaced yours, where yours is just going in to the specifics. I gave the how, and you're giving the game plan right here.
Yep. Yeah, it's so fascinating, Josh, because I do want to point that out even more so to the audience. You and I, unbeknownst to each other, were both writing an article at the same time, literally at the same time. I dropped mine and you dropped yours, and I go and I read yours, and I'm like, holy crap! I just wrote an article about this, and like you're saying, you had the how, and I got basically the why. Our two articles go hand in hand, and it's so cool that we didn't plan it that way.
No, absolutely not.
I liked how we were both on the same page.
Irish, is this making any sense to you so far?
You gotta mute it.
Yes, I'm enjoying this.
All right, cool, awesome. I know Freedom Fire's already seen this, but what are you thinking
and
so
I love
far?
Digi as well. I know Digi, and Digi's helped me a lot in the past. So
Yeah.
Great work, Digi.
Thanks, buddy. It's good. It's good to hear from you. Good to finally meet you.
You too, man. Hope things are good for you, man. Hope things are good.
I'm doing a lot better. Thank you. So right where we left off, why did Q map out legal mechanisms, military authority, and broadcast infrastructure in the same drop unless all three were designed to activate simultaneously? What if the several days that Q referenced was never a single window, but the entire compressed timeline of an operation that needed years of groundwork before the visible phase could begin? What happens when the public finally realizes that everything they're watching in 2026, the executive orders, the ISOPs, the enforcement tsunami, was authored in that original blueprint? For those in Rio Linda, the government wrote the playbook years before the game started. What you're watching today isn't improvisation. It's a script that was finished before most people knew there was a theater. We don't inform our enemies of the specifics. We instead instill fear in them to make unplanned and disastrous countermoves. Q. The Queen's Gambit. Pieces the normies couldn't see. Every Grand Master knows something the amateur doesn't. The move only matters if you understand the piece making it. And the piece only matters if you understand where it was positioned before the game began. That's why amateurs chase headlines and grandmasters study the board. Because the most dangerous piece on the board isn't the one making noise, it's the one you forgot was there.
Mm-hmm.
They were so focused on the knights, the flashy moves, the media circus, they never watched the pawns. Q48, November 2nd, 2017. What is Q clearance? What hint does that explicitly refer to? DOE? Who would have the goods on Uranium 1? Does stating Q refer that person works in DOE? No. Does it refer that someone dropping such information has the highest level of security within all departments? Why is this relevant? May 2010, Barack Obama, Russia should be viewed as a friendly partner under Section 123 of the Atomic Energy Act of 1954 after agreeing to a new nuclear weapons reduction deal and helping U.S. with Iran. Who is the enemy? What is being continually stated by all these? Russia is what? What did the Russia reset really provide? Clearance pathway to complete the Uranium One deal? Why is the Canadian Prime Minister so important? They never thought they were going to lose. The calm before the storm. Now stop. Forget everything that you've been told about this drop for a moment and read it again. What is Q actually talking about? Russia? Iran? Uranium One? Obama? No. Those are the names. The names are bait. Look deeper. What is the drop actually asking you to focus on? Access, clearance, classification, compartmentalization, information. Think about it. Why begin with what is Q clearance? Why not begin with Russia? Why not begin with Uranium One? Why not begin with Obama? Because the drop isn't starting with the event, it's starting with visibility. Who could see the board? Who could see all of it? Who had access to the pieces that everyone else believed were unrelated? That's the first clue. The second clue is even bigger. Notice how quickly the drop moves from Russia to Uranium One, to Iran, to diplomatic agreements, to classification levels, to the calm before the storm. Why? Because strategic planners don't think in headlines, they think in networks, connections, dependencies, relationships. To the average observer, those are separate stories. To a strategist, they're pieces on the same board. And once you begin reading the drop that way, the entire thing changes. Suddenly, Russia isn't the story. Iran isn't the story. Uranium One isn't the story. The story is the hidden thread connecting all three together. The story is the board itself. Why did Obama use the language of friendly partner while simultaneously building the infrastructure for deals that require the highest levels of classification to conceal? What happens when the classified layers that Q described start peeling in real time and every random geopolitical headline suddenly has a 2017 breadcrumb attached to it? What if the Iran tightrope drama playing out in the Gulf right now in June 26, the Strait of Hormuz posturing, the retaliatory strikes, the negotiation theater, is the same uranium nuclear accountability thread Q flagged in Drop 48 finally surfacing for public consumption? For those in Rio Linda, most people thought they were watching a Russia story. They weren't. They were watching pieces being moved across a board they couldn't see. Russia was a piece, Iran was a piece, Uranium One was a piece. The board was the story, and the board never changed. Only the move did. They never thought she would lose. Now they all lose. Q+. Call the ball. The insurrection framework goes live. The thing about chess, it doesn't go on forever. Every move serves a purpose. Every sacrifice creates an opening. Every exchange narrows the board, and every position advances towards the same destination. Everything is calculated to bring the game closer to its inevitable checkmate. Eventually, there comes a moment when the position becomes so dominant that continued resistance doesn't change the outcome. It only delays it. The Grand Master doesn't celebrate. The Grand Master doesn't get emotional. The Grand Master executes, move by move. Q 4360, May 30th, 2020, Insurrection Act of 1807, determination that the various state and local authorities are not up to the task of responding to the growing unrest. Call the ball. Now stop and read that again. Not the law, not the date, not the unrest. The phrase, call the ball. Why that phrase? Why not prepare? Why not stand by? Why not be ready? Because those are the words you use before execution. Call the ball is different. Call the ball happens after the target is identified, after the approach is locked, after the decision has already been made. Think about that for a second. The drop isn't asking whether action should occur. The drop is describing a condition under which action becomes authorized. Notice what Q points to, not politics, not personalities, not elections, conditions. Determination that the various state and local authorities are not up to the task of responding to the growing unrest. Read that carefully. The focus isn't the response, the focus is the trigger. Why? Because strategists don't build plans around outcomes, they build plans around conditions. If condition A exists, authority B activates. If trigger C occurs, response D follows. That's how contingency frameworks work. That's how command structures work. That's how war games work.
Did you let me stop you right there?
Yep.
Okay, so for our audience, this is very important that you understand this because we just watched the little blurb from War Games, okay? That you just heard, did you say if condition A exists, authority B activates. If trigger C occurs, response D follows, okay? That's what War Games means, guys. That's what we've been telling you about. That's why we have been telling you that we believe that Q is an entity that is a system that has war gamed everything out, and he's explaining it to you right here in this article of how it's going on. So I just wanted to kind of slow down and let our audience catch up just a little bit and kind of put two and two together, what you prefaced in the beginning to where we're at right now.
Sounds great. Perfect. Thank you. Let's see. And once you start reading the drop that way, call the ball stops sounding like a slogan. It starts sounding like an execution sequence. And once you understand that, a lot of recent events start looking very different. Think about what happened in Los Angeles. Not the headlines, the conditions. Q didn't say action would occur because a politician was unpopular. Q didn't say action would occur because a governor made bad decisions. Q pointed to something much more specific, a determination. A determination that state and local authorities were no longer capable of maintaining control. So read that drop again. That's the trigger, not the personalities, the condition. So ask yourself, what happens when local officials refuse to cooperate with federal enforcement? What happens when riot-level interference begins disrupting federal operations? What happens when local leadership becomes the obstacle rather than the solution? That's where names like Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass enter the story. Not because they're the story, because they become variables inside the framework. The condition gets met, the trigger activates, the authority expands, and the framework executes. And suddenly, what looked like an isolated event in Los Angeles starts looking a lot more like a proof of concept, a live test. A test of whether the framework could withstand pressure, whether federal authority could operate despite state resistance, whether the board would hold. And it did. Which brings us to 2026. Look around. ICE operations are continuing, sanctuary jurisdictions under increasing pressure, federal enforcement is expanding rather than retreating. The machine isn't suddenly accelerating. The machine was already running. The public is just now hearing the engine. That's the difference. Why did Q connect the Insurrection Act specifically to local authority failure unless the deep state's plan was always to weaponize local governance as a shield against federal accountability? What happens when call the ball stops being a coded signal and becomes a visible, documented, sustained reality that even the normies can no longer deny?
Wow.
What if the 2025 LA deployment was never the main event, but the proof of concept that unlocked normalized federal authority for the sustained 2026 operation? For those in Rio Linda, the drop wasn't describing a response, it was describing a trigger. When local authorities fail to maintain order, federal authority expands to fill the gap. That's not a new framework, that's the framework. The sanctuary cities thought they were building walls. Instead, they were building conditions. And conditions trigger responses. When your city refuses to do its job, the federal government steps in and does it for them. That's not tyranny. That's the Constitution working exactly as designed, just like the plan said it would.
That's so important, guys. That's
the ball.
So important to realize that when the local authorities no longer will uphold the law, it is the responsibility of the federal government, i.e. Donald Trump and the military, to do it for them.
Correct. The missing E breadcrumb protocol never retired. The Grandmaster leaves no signal unwatched, not a timestamp, not a typo, not a letter. Q made it plain. Misspellings matter. Sentence formations matter. Learn. Q. The Department of Energy posted to X, oil is the largest source of energy on the planet. One letter missing, E. Now ask yourself a question. If Q spent years telling people that misspellings matter, why would anyone ignore a missing letter from the Department of Energy? Maybe it means nothing. Maybe it's exactly what it appears to be. Or maybe the real question isn't whether the letter matters. Maybe the real question is why the same people who spent years studying signals immediately noticed it. Q1559, June 19, 2018, D-Class, LP, that's Lisa Page. Viva la Resistance, Viva versus Vive. JC, that's James Comey. Why classified by Intelcom at highest level, define title, define role with Mueller, exchange shelters, very senior member, Q. Now stop, forget the missing letter for a moment. Read that Q drop again. What is Q actually talking about? A typo? No, a process. Precision, verification, and authentication. Think about it. Why would Q spend so much time focusing on individual letters? Why would a single character matter? Because communication systems rely on precision. One altered character changes a message. One missing character confirms a sender. One tiny deviation becomes visible to the people who know where to look. That's how authentication works. That's how signals work. That's how breadcrumbs work. Now look at what Q is actually discussing. Not a typo, but a system, a language, a method of communication. Think about the drop. Why does Q move from D-Class to Lisa Page to James Comey to a single missing letter? At first glance, those seem unrelated, but are they? Or are they all describing the same thing? Exposure, layer by layer, signal by signal, breadcrumb by breadcrumb. D-Class was never described as a single moment. It was described as a process. One layer removed, then another, until the structure underneath becomes visible. Q3711, December 17, 2019. I give all the credit to Josh on this one. He's the one that pointed this out to me a while back. The storm sequence of events. Horowitz IG report, Comey report, declassifies indictments. Worth remembering. Q. So Q actually defines what the storm is in this drop. We always talk about, the storm is coming, the storm is upon us, or what is the storm? Q actually tells us what the storm is in this drop. So read the sequence carefully, not the headline, the sequence. The Horowitz report, the Comey report, the D-Class of FISA, and the indictments. Now ask yourself, why is D-Class sitting in the middle? Why isn't it in the beginning? Why isn't it in the end? Because the sequence itself tells a story. One revelation unlocks another. One exposure leads to another. One piece reveals the next piece. D-Class isn't presented as the destination. It's presented as part of the mechanism that moves the sequence forward. That's a very different way of looking at it. Now read Q1559 again. Lisa Page, Viva la Resistance. James Comey, a very senior member. Why are those names appearing inside a discussion about signals and precision? Because the drop isn't focused on personalities, it's focused on concealment. Who was protected? Who was exposed? Who knew? Who didn't? And who could see the board? And who was still operating under the illusion that the board was hidden? That's the real question. The missing E isn't important because it's a letter. It's important because Q spent years teaching people to watch the details, the small things, the things most people dismiss, the things hidden in plain sight. That's what makes the signal interesting. Why did Q go to letter level granularity on signals unless the operation required breadcrumbs precise enough to confirm authenticity to those with eyes to see while remaining invisible to those running the operation being exposed? What happens when every random government post, every accidental typo, every coincidental timestamp is understood as part of a sustained digital confirmation protocol that never went dark? What if the D-class layers peeling in 2026, the classified moves, exposure momentum, old networks fracturing, are the direct execution of what Q1559 mapped years before the players knew they were already caught? For those in Rio Linda, some people see a typo, some people see a signal. The question isn't whether the missing letter proves everything. The question is whether you believe that people who spent years saying misspellings matter would simply ignore it. That's the question. And once you start asking that question, you begin looking at the board differently. Dark to light. Q. Tracy, I am going to have to stop right there, and I'm going to have to pass the baton to you, ma'am.
Okay.
Because I have really got to go, and I am so thankful I was able to be on for as long as I could today, guys. But I have got to get back to work. For those that don't know, I'm in Hawaii, and it's only 3:00 in the afternoon over here, so it's like in the middle of the workday for me over here.
Yeah. Well, look, very impressive. Thank you very much for doing this and coming on with us. And because we miss you, man. I'll be glad when this era is over. We need our Digi back.
Yeah. I miss all of y'all, and I miss the community. I miss everybody, and I'm really thankful that y'all had me on, and it's good to see everybody. And much love for everyone.
Yes, very good.
Yeah, it's good to meet you, Digi, and speak finally.
Good to meet you. Good to meet with you as well, Irish Patriot and Freedom Fire. Always good to see you, Josh and Tracy. Thank you so much for having me. Tracy,
Bye,
if you could just take it from here, ma'am.
I got it.
All right. Y'all have a wonderful day.
We'll try to do you justice.
All right. Bye.
All right. Bye.
Okay. So where are we at? Right there. How about a nice game of chess? Most people think chess is about the king. It isn't. The king is the objective. The king is never the first move. The king is the last move. And that's exactly why Q used chess. But before we get to that, we need to go back to where Q first said it out loud. Q 568, January 19th, 2018. Shall we play a game? How about a nice game of chess? War games. Double meaning. What is that? Classified? Yeah, 55849. Fake incoming missile alert, DEFCON 1. We know all. Trust.
I commented that today.
You did?
Actually, yep. I decoded something to that today, this very post.
So read that carefully. War games. Double meaning. Q didn't leave that open to interpretation. Q told you directly. The chess frame and the war games frame aren't two separate ideas. They're the same idea, expressed in two languages, simultaneously. And Q dropped that in January 2018, 2 years before the full chess decode arrived in Q Post 4281, 2 years before the removal sequence was spelled out piece by piece. The origin drop came first. The operational map came last, or later. That's not coincidence. That's architecture. And once you see the architecture, Q4281 hits completely differently. Q4281, May 19th, 2020. How about a nice game of chess? Objective? Checkmate king. Do you attack the king at the beginning of the game? Do you attack and remove pawns first? Do you attack and remove bishops, rooks, knights next? Do you attack and remove queen mid to end? Is the game being played public or private? Do emotions affect critical thinking? Add important king control pieces. Eliminate rogue elements. Add how do you set the stage board? Public opinion, optics. At this time, Q. Let me scroll. Now stop. Read the sequence again. Not the metaphor, the sequence. Pawns first, bishops, rooks, and knights next. Queen, mid to end. King, last. Now ask yourself, why does Q describe the game in that order? Why not start with the king? Why not start with the queen? Why not go straight to the objective? Because grandmasters don't attack the objective first. They attack the protection surrounding it, the pieces that make the objective difficult to reach, the shields, the blockers, the defenders. Only then do they move deeper into the board. Think about that. Because that's not poetry, that's a removal sequence. That's an operational timeline hidden inside the language of a board game. And suddenly, a lot of other drops begin making more sense. The board, the pieces, the conditions, the signals. Every section we've walked through so far points back to the same idea. Sequence matters. Order matters. Timing matters. The pieces don't leave the board randomly. They leave the board in the order required to reach the objective. Now look around. What happens when local resistance frameworks begin collapsing? What happens when institutional protections begin disappearing? What happens when exposure sequences start peeling back layer after layer? What happens when the pieces that once protected the center of the board are no longer there? That's the question, because Q isn't describing a battle. Q is describing progression. Move after move after move toward the same destination. Then Q shifts gears and asks two questions that don't sound like chess at all. Is the game being played public or private? Do emotions affect critical thinking? Read those again. Why are those questions inside a chess lesson? Because the sequence only works if the observer understands which board they're watching. There has always been a visible board. Headlines, personalities, outrage, drama, conflict. And there's always been another board underneath it. Conditions, triggers, frameworks, sequences, moves.
Stop. Right there.
Mm-hmm.
So, guys, did you just hear that? There's a board under another board, okay? So, why do you think that they always say Trump is playing 5D chess? Okay? It's because he's playing multiple boards at the same time. He's playing a public board and he's playing a private board.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. Sorry.
They need you focused on the visible board. They need the outrage. They need the exhaustion. I know we all feel that right now, right?
Yeah.
Come on. They need the emotional reaction because emotion narrows perspective. Emotion pulls your eyes toward the move. Strategy forces your eyes back to the board. And the moment you begin watching the board instead of the spectacle, the moment you begin tracking the sequence instead of the headline, the moment you start asking yourself, which board am I actually looking at right now? The game changes. And Q already knew that. Do emotions affect critical thinking? That's not a rhetorical question. That's a warning and a challenge. And Q didn't just ask the question once. Q came back to it. Q Post 2816, February 19th, 2019. The declassification of all requested documents, plus more, will occur. This is not a game. Do not let personal, emotional desires do it now. Now, what is taking so long? Now, take over. Logical thinking and strategy should always be applied. Game theory. We all want to see equal justice under the law. New threats. Investigations by SNY, AS, MW, in an effort to delay, prevent, release, insurance extension, will fail transparency is the only way forward to find the following: treason, sedition, subversion, conspiracy to commit. Do you understand and fully appreciate the gravity of the situation? Do you understand and fully appreciate what POTUS endures each and every single day? He loves this country. He loves you. We must stand together in this fight. There is evil in this world. There is darkness in this world. There are those in power who wish to control, enslave you, to keep you sedated, to keep you unaware, to keep you blind. This will be on our timetable, and we will deliver transparency and prosecution. There is simply no other way except one. Q.
Okay, Freedom Fire, Irish Patriot. So, after reading that Q post, audience, do you understand why now that Truther Media keeps telling you over and over and over to stay in the signal, ignore the noise? Do emotions cloud critical thinking? When you're looking at an emotional headline and you're not drilling down to the facts of the situation, you cannot see the game board, people. Does that make sense, Freedom?
Yes, absolutely.
Irish?
Yep, I can understand. Yep.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure we're all making sense here.
I was taking some notes while you were talking as well there, and just looking some things up as well while you're going through it. And it's very interesting. Just
Yeah. So read that carefully. Not the D-class promise, not the justice language, the instruction embedded inside it. Do not let personal, emotional desires take over. Logical thinking and strategy should always be applied. Game theory. Q used those 3 lines in sequence, not accidentally, because the people running the operation already knew what was coming. The delays, the frustration, the why is this taking so long exhaustion, the emotional pressure to demand visible action on someone else's timeline. Q addressed it directly, years in advance, because emotional impatience is a weapon. They use it against you. The outrage cycles, the nothing is happening narrative, the exhaustion campaigns, all designed to pull your eyes off the board and onto the spectacle. Logical thinking and strategy should always be applied. That's not motivational language. That's operational doctrine. And this will be on our timetable isn't arrogance. It's the same thing Q said in drop 568, the same thing Q said in drop 4281. The game runs on the Grandmaster's clock, not the audience's, not the media's, not their attempts to force a premature move. And we will deliver, because what comes next only makes sense if you're reading the sequence underneath the spectacle, not just watching the events, understanding why the events are occurring in the order they're occurring. Why did Q explicitly describe a removal sequence instead of simply saying checkmate the king? What happens when you realize the pieces were never being removed randomly, but according to a sequence laid out years in advance? What if the phase we're entering now isn't the beginning of the game at all, but the late middle game where the most important pieces are finally coming into view?
Okay, so Tracy, do you remember during Trump's announcement of D-Class? When Freedom Fire, you probably remember this too. We did a decode, and I said, guys, the clock just activated. The clock just started. Now, guys, think of it like this, okay? And I'm glad Sky Girl's here in the chat now too. And if you want to, you're more than welcome to come on the show, and I can forward you that link if you need me to. But guys, the clock activated. Think of it like a game of chess. Okay, you've got 2 people sitting, and now Trump's hit the button and says, okay, Deep State, you're on the clock. They declassed the first set of documents that night about the election interference, and then we got Q comms to clock activated. Okay, so Trump hit the button on the little clock for the chess players, and he goes, okay, I've made my move. Now, Deep State, it's your turn. You're on the clock. Does that make sense, guys?
Makes sense to me.
yep.
Yep. All right. For those in Rio Linda, most people think chess is won when the king falls. Grandmasters know the game was usually decided long before that. The king is the last move, not the first. And if Q is right, the most important question isn't who the king is. The most important question is how many pieces have already left the board. The whole world is watching. Q. Freedom 250, the cultural reset move. The Grandmaster knows something else the amateur misses. Chess isn't won only on the board. It's won in the mind of the opponent. The moment your opponent believes the position is hopeless, the game is already over. Freedom 250 isn't a party. It's a psychological operation. the legal kind, the righteous kind, the kind that rewires a nation's nervous system in real time. Memorial Day 2026 delivered goosebumps on a national scale. The Mall Events Building, UFC on the South Lawn, July 4th fireworks being engineered to light up the planet, and they tried to stop it. Generator sabotage attempts, artist walkouts, fake news media spin cycles calling it authoritarian spectacle. Every sabotage attempt failed. Every artist walkout made the remaining performers more legendary. Every fake news media hit piece drove 10 more normies to tune in just to see what the fuss was about. Q16, October 31st, 2017. Get the popcorn. Friday and Saturday will deliver on the MAGA promise. POTUS knows he must clean house, government, in order to free up and demonstrate who has authority in order to pass important legislation. This was always the priority. Remember, AG Sessions cannot look like an impartial player that is out to get all former Obama team members, as we need him for other important work. All will come into focus, and for anyone to think POTUS is not in control is kidding themselves. Also, he's 100% insulated with zero risk of impeachment. Fact. Q. Now stop. Read the drop again. Not the popcorn, not the Friday delivery, not the impeachment line. Read the objective. What is Q actually pointing at? Authority. Demonstrated authority. Think about that. Why doesn't Q simply say pass legislation? Why doesn't Q simply say win elections? Why doesn't Q simply say clean house? Because those are outcomes. Q is talking about something deeper. The ability to demonstrate who is actually in control. That's the key. Y'all remember that post? Because authority that exists but is never demonstrated creates uncertainty. Authority that is demonstrated removes uncertainty. And once uncertainty disappears, behavior changes. Think about the sequence. First, clean house. Then demonstrate who has authority. Then pass important legislation. Notice the order. Why that order? Because strategists understand something most people don't. Power isn't proven by possessing it. Power is proven by exercising it. And once you see that, a lot of recent events start looking very different. Freedom 250, the national celebrations, the Memorial Day events, the massive July 4th buildup, the visible displays of national confidence, the attempts to sabotage them, the attempts to ridicule them, the attempts to stop them. Why? Because cultural terrain matters. Public perception matters. Optics matter. Q already told you that when discussing how to set the stage and control the board. And what happens when every attempt to stop the event fails? What happens when every attack produces the opposite result? What happens when every effort to diminish the spectacle only makes more people pay attention? Every attack produced the opposite result. Every attempt to diminish the spectacle only attracted more attention. Every effort to stop it made it larger. The demonstration becomes the message. And that brings us back to Freedom 250. Maybe it's a celebration. Maybe it's a birthday party. Maybe it's fireworks. Or maybe it's something much larger. Maybe it's a demonstration that the people executing the plan no longer feel the need to whisper. That's a very different thing and a very different signal. Why did Q connect clean house and demonstrate who has authority in the same drop, unless the demonstration was always part of the operation? What happens when the visible celebration and the invisible enforcement operation are understood as two halves of the same sequence? What if Freedom 250 isn't simply commemorating America's past, but marking the beginning of a new phase in America's future?
The Golden Age.
For those in Rio Linda, when someone spends years telling you they have authority, that's a claim. When they demonstrate it in public, that's proof. And there's a very big difference between the two. And Q already told you exactly why the demonstration matters more than the Declaration. Q 4024, April 30th, 2020. Sometimes you can't tell the public the truth, you must show them. A deeply entrenched enemy who controls the vast majority of communications is only defeated by game theory. Q. Read that slowly. Not the game theory reference, the first two lines. Sometimes you can't tell the public the truth. Why not? Because information can be argued. Information can be distorted. Information can be buried. But reality is much harder to hide. So what's the alternative? You don't tell them, you show them. And that's Freedom 250. Not a speech, not a press release, not a headline, a demonstration.
Hey guys, stop right there real quick. So think of it like this too. What has the administration been calming to over and over the past couple of days? Games.
I was thinking the same, Josh. I was thinking that too.
Yeah, you're exactly right, IP man. It's
Yeah.
the games. It's the game theory. And I think that POTUS is telling us we're right in the middle of the moves being made and the moves and counter moves because, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you realize this, but D-Class has already been activated. The snowball has already started to roll. D5. The clock has been activated.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. Sorry about that, Tracy.
Because demonstrations don't ask for belief. Demonstrations don't require trust. Demonstrations don't need permission. They simply occur. And once they occur, people reach conclusions on their own. That's the difference between being told and being shown. A parade that will never be forgotten. Q. Never thought about that one. The War Games simulation final move. You remember the movie, the computer, the screens. Every possible scenario running simultaneously. Every branch, every response, every counter response, every outcome. Calculated, tested, simulated, and then silence. One conclusion remained. A strange game. The only winning move is not to play. Now think about everything you just read. The board, the pieces, the conditions, the signals, the sequence, the demonstration. What if they were never separate stories? What if they were all outputs from the same simulation? Because that's what most people still don't understand. The simulation wasn't trying to predict the future. The simulation was trying to identify the only path that survives every possible future. Think about that. Every lawfare operation, every media narrative, every manufactured outrage, every sabotage attempt, every institutional shield, every resistance network, every countermove, every single one. The simulation already accounted for them. Not because the future was known, because the possibilities were known. And that's what war games do. They don't predict, they prepare. They don't guess, they model. They don't react, they build contingencies. Move after move, layer after layer, sequence after sequence, until only one path remains standing. Now, before we get to the conclusion, I want you to see something that most people miss. Because every chapter we've walked through so far has been teaching the same lesson. The board, the pieces, the conditions, the signals, the sequence. Different language, same map. And Q gave us one final receipt. Q 3929, April 10th, 2020. Patriots, be cautious in your interpretations of info posted. False expectations and push, based on speculation, will only weaponize those who attack us. MSM. Why does MSM expend resources daily attempting to discredit? Do you provide the playbook to the enemy? Specific dates, logical thinking. FISA indictments equals start, public justice. Future proves past. Events unlock. Think CEO departures. Think FBI departures. Think DOJ departures. Think State departures. Think White House departures. Think DIA departures. Think Pentagon departures. Think Senate departures. Think House departures. Think, ambassador departures. Think IG departures. Think judge install. Think Supreme Court install. Think White House install. Think FBI install. Think CIA install. Think DOJ install. Think US, what's ATT install? Game theory. If you look, you can see. Now stop. Read that list again. Not the names, not the agencies, the pattern. Departures, then installs. Departures, then installs, over and over, across every major institution simultaneously. CEO level, FBI, DOJ, State Department, White House, Defense Intelligence, Pentagon, Senate, House, ambassadors, inspector generals, judges, Supreme Court.
Stop.
Mm-hmm.
Tracy, what just got decided in the Supreme Court that allows for everything that you just listed to occur?
Are you talking about the slaughter
The
case?
slaughter case.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense, Freedom Fire?
She's snoozing.
No, I was on mute.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. Yes, it absolutely does. Absolutely. The slaughter case is going to be massive for us
Yeah.
in all
Yeah,
of
that's
this.
The
Yes.
stage had to be set first, though.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
100%.
All right, now go back to Q 4281. Do you attack and remove pawns first? Do you attack and remove bishops, rooks, knights next? Do you attack and remove queen mid to end? Q. Read those two drops side by side. One describes the sequence in chess language. The other describes the sequence in institutional language. They're describing the same operation, one in chess language, one in institutional language. Years apart, different drops, different contexts, same sequence. And that's where future proves past stops being a slogan, because a map that repeatedly confirms itself isn't speculation, it's a map. And Q closed Q post 3929 with two lines that don't need a decode block. Game theory. If you look, you can see. That's the whole thing right there. The simulation wasn't theoretical. It was already executing. The pieces weren't metaphorical. They were actual positions inside actual institutions being cleared, being filled in one sequence. According to a framework that was described years before most people knew a transition was underway. So why did Q close the departure install list with game theory? And if you look, you can see. Unless the evidence was always visible to anyone willing to map the sequence rather than chase the headline. What happens when you place Q post 4281's chess sequence directly alongside Q post 3929's departure install list and realize they describe identical operational logic across different languages? What if the simulation was never a metaphor at all, but a literal description of how an operation of this scale gets executed without triggering the very institutional resistance it's designed to dismantle? For those in Rio Linda, chess removes pieces in sequence. The list above describes pieces being removed and replaced across every major American institution. Q described both, years apart, using different language, arriving at the same map. If you look, you can see. Q. Checkmate. The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. Sun Tzu. The board was set, the pieces were positioned, the conditions were established, the signals were sent. The sequence unfolded, the demonstrations occurred, and now the realization. Because realization is the final move, not on the board, in the mind. And every chapter you just read was designed to get you there. Because that's what this article was really about. Not politics, not personalities, not headlines. Perception. Learning to see the board. Learning to see the sequence. Learning to recognize the move before the headline explains it. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. For years, the map was mocked. For years, the breadcrumbs were dismissed. For years, the people following the sequence were told they were seeing patterns where none existed. But here's what truly matters. The departure list Q posted in April 2020 described institutional clearing across CEO level, FBI, DOJ, state, Pentagon, Senate, House, and the judiciary. The departures happened, the installs happened, not all at once, not in a headline, not in a single news cycle. Exactly the way a sequence unfolds, in sequence. And Q said, if you look, you can see before most of it was visible. That's not a prediction, that's a map. And maps don't expire. They just wait for the territory to catch up. Now, read this. Q Post 1602, June 27, 2018. If you continue to proceed down this dangerous path, only know that we are prepared. You should know this based on earlier drops, referencing SA. National Guard, military, is that military intelligence assets activate U.S. soil. The game is over when the public knows. The fight to keep the lights off is all that matters to you. You will fail. The American people are awake. You lost control. Sheep no more. You underestimated their resolve and their ability to free think away from the pipeline narrative. We will declass. We will shine light. There is nowhere to hide. No amount of money, influence, or power can stop this. Our rights to secure and protect at all costs then become justified. We stand at the ready, red wave, white squall, in God we trust.
We're fixing to see the red wave, ladies and gentlemen.
I do believe so as well. Read that one line again. The game is over when the public knows. That's the whole thing right there. That's why the breadcrumbs existed. That's why the drops existed. That's why the digital soldiers existed. That's why you exist in this fight. Not to storm a building, not to fire a weapon, not to make an arrest. To make sure the public knows. That's the mission. That's always been the mission. The deep state's only remaining power is the darkness. The fight to keep the lights off. And every article, every thread, every meme, every share, every conversation that wakes one more person up is the move that ends the game. The game is over when the public knows. Checkmate. That's not a prediction. That's a condition. And conditions can be met. For years we watched. For years we documented. For years we held the line when holding the line cost something. We didn't fold, and Q already told us why this moment matters. You were chosen for a reason. You are being provided the highest level of intel to ever be dropped publicly in the history of the world. Use it. Protect and comfort those around you. Where we go one, we go all. Q. The storm isn't approaching. We're already inside it. The movie isn't ending. It's hitting the third act. And the most important question isn't what happens next. It's where you are in the sequence. Because once you know where you are in the sequence, the ending stops being a mystery. Checkmate. Trust the plan only makes sense after the timeline comes into focus. Because what we're watching now isn't randomness. It's history repeating on purpose. Or as Q said long ago, sometimes the future can find the past. And sometimes the past can find the future. And in this case, everything is right on schedule. And that's the difference between prophecy and planning. One waits for events, the other prepares for them. And that's why Future Proves Past was never about forecasting events. It was about recognizing the sequence. The future didn't prove the prediction. The future proved the map. Future proves past. Nothing can stop what is coming because it's already happening. Nothing can stop what is coming is happening is the new. Nothing can stop what is coming. That's it.
All right. So
he did so well on that,
wow,
man.
Guys. Wow.
Yeah, that's very good. That very good
Yeah, it's very
explanation.
good.
of
You gotta
everything.
put the camera back on, babe.
Yeah. Give me just a second.
Okay.
Here.
Sorry, guys.
All right, guys. So D5. The snowball has started to roll. That's where we are at right now in the game. And when I say game, I use that very loosely because this is the battle that we're in right now currently. So, Freedom, I want to go to you first. I want to get some reactions from you. Does this line up? You've been doing this series with me just for a little while, and starting at the very first to where we were at, and then now we're at episode 4, and we're building off every episode. The last episode is the how. Okay, now we're experiencing the moves of it and going through exactly where we are in the operation. So, Go ahead.
No, it's excellent. I love these articles are great. He does it in a way that I sometimes cannot, as we all talk about, is that he's
brilliant in that.
Yeah, no, my language is my love language is nerd. So Tracy knows that. It's Tracy and I talk all the time. So sometimes I have a hard time expressing exactly what I want to say, even though I know exactly what I'm talking about, but it just isn't coming out right. And Digi does a great job of explaining it, because Digi's love language is nerd too, but he can explain it in a way that people can understand. And I respect that greatly, because I struggle with that. Yeah. But no, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. He's explaining everything. And it is like a chess game. It is. I mean, because we've talked about how everything in the Q drops are layered, and don't look at everything at surface value, because there's 7 layers to all of this, literally there's all these different layers. And I love how he broke down, look at the nouns, because that's exactly how I have tried to break everything down as well, is, and that's why we went as far as trying to say, not only is it operational language. When we say operational, we're not just talking military operational coding, but computer operational coding, because it's almost like if you can pick out the computer language to certain things, you'll see things like go to, jump. You know what I mean? These little nodes of things, but you have to be able to really sit there and pick things out, and you can see it. So it's so layered. At first reaction, you just want to read it, and you're like, it just looks like this crazy, I don't want to call it propaganda, but it's like what everybody screams about that I say all the time. You're just like, who's going to hang and win? Right? Because that's what you see. But when you start really getting into it, for people like us, that we're all nerdy in our own way, it is like this massive puzzle to put together that is so insane. It is a map. It's telling you everything, and future does prove past. And you're actually learning law. You're learning about the different bills that have been passed, the different EOs that are coming out. I mean, it's brilliant. And he did a great job. He did a fabulous job.
Yeah, I love how his mind works, and how for those in Rio Linda, that helps me. I almost want to skip to the Rio Linda part. You know what I mean?
So funny, right? Yeah, no, I get it.
He explains it very well. He makes it very understandable for people.
Yeah,
he does. He does.
Even
absolutely.
those that aren't aware, even those that aren't very much into it and stuff, he explains it in a way that is understandable, even for those that aren't too sure. Even for myself, I took some things in there, which was really, great, And I was just looking up some interesting thing about the Queen, mid to end. And funny, I just looked up her, her death, which was 2022. So you are talking mid to end in terms of the whole plan.
Yeah.
So it's just, interesting.
Yeah. Something else I'll throw out there is that when we were going through it, and he was talking about call the ball. I've broken down so many of these things, and everybody, like Yeet and I, we've got these little files kind of stashed away here and there. So with call the ball, there's another operational layer to that actual phrase, and it goes back to USS Bennington. Okay. That is actually part of, a historical record. And the USS Bennington was directly involved in the development of the system that produced the Naval Aviation Command call the ball.
Mhm.
And so I don't know how many people know that. And so it literally, like, that is like the mirror landing system. The optical
Right.
ball was
Yeah.
that was what that was for. So that is really, really cool and interesting. And then going back to how the USS Bennington actually got its name, and I think the timing is insane, because the USS Bennington actually got its name from the original, the Bennington, from like 1777. So it's part of like the Saratoga, during the Battle of Bennington during 1777, in the Saratoga campaign, where the Patriot militia defeated the British and Allied forces. So there's all these little nodes. Yeah, go ahead.
I didn't know if y'all could hear that or not. I'm hearing
No,
it.
no. I
Oh,
they can't
sorry.
hear that.
Okay.
I'm getting to a clip for you.
Well, Digi popped in.
Oh, Digi popped in. Hold
sorry.
on just one second.
Go ahead. Uh-huh.
What's up, my friend? Digi?
Damn it, I had the mute on again. I'm telling you, I am the undefeated, indisputed king of mute.
It's a mute champion.
Yeah, so I just was able to catch the last couple of minutes. First of all, thank y'all very much for what you said. It was very nice, Freedom Fire and
Yeah.
and I'm so glad that you enjoy the Ria Linda, Tracy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll do more for that. I'll do more of those for you. Now, if everybody could really understand the concept of everything that we just discussed in terms of the game theory, the war game, the chess, and how this is being played in terms of the board that's out there. And Josh, you were good to point out how, the 5D chess thing, that Trump plays, because that, excuse me, that's really what this is about. When you think of the board that we see on TV, the chaos and the riots and everything, or whatever, versus the actual board where, Trump's making his moves. And that's really what this article is designed to do. Freedom Fire, you were calling us nerds, and I guess I am a nerd.
You are. It's okay. We love you.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm a good looking nerd. Anyway, I'm just being funny. Now the bottom line is, this article is really designed, Freedom Fire, to help everyone else out there that isn't necessarily like me or like you, that is able to see so much more than what you're just reading on a Q drop.
Sure.
This article is designed to teach you how to understand the layers and the sequencing and how this is all being done, because yeah, I mean, so many people are like, where are the arrests? I mean, how often do you see that in your feed, right? It's every day.
All the time. Every day.
All the time. And I get it. I'm right there with you. But if you understand the drops in this way, then you start to see, oh, okay, so these things have to occur first. And yeah, Josh, the Slaughter case, as she's reading the drop, you jumped in and you're like, what just passed in the Supreme Court, right? So there's a process, and that's really what this is designed to demonstrate, so everybody understands, so they can stop getting so bent out of shape about where all the arrests, right? Well, this is part one, and if everybody understands this, the next chapter, entry 4 of the Digital Chronicles, where this one talked about the board, the next one's going to talk about what the board sits on. The board sits on a table. So what is under the table? And that is the most important aspect in terms of where we're going in the future. So we're going to be talking in the next one of how it all ties together with energy, quantum computing, Bitcoin, everything that Trump is doing on that aspect of it in terms of the board, which is supported by the table, everything underneath that. So that's going to be a lot more complex, because in AI, because I know with quantum computers and AI and Bitcoin and everything like that, there's so much of that world where so many people are really kind of, for lack of a better phrase, not very well keyed in or clueless, so to speak, right?
Right.
So a lot of the moves that are happening at such a rapid rate in terms of where technology is literally a moving target. I mean, it's accelerating, where things are changing so rapidly that even with Trump, with all the executive orders that he's signing and all the different policies and initiatives as part of his agenda with what the future's going to be doing and whatnot, there's a lot of people that are going to get left behind if they don't get up to speed. And I guess that's kind of like where I'm at right now, where I'm wanting to help so many in the community to where that doesn't happen.
Right.
Because it doesn't have to be that way. As long as you understand what's happening and how things are changing, you can evolve right along with it and actually be at peace.
I agree.
And I really want to drive that home, because I really want Truth or Media to be known as such. We're not going to be here to tell you that everything's fake and gay. We're not going to be here to tell you that you're watching a movie. But what we are going to do is number one, we're going to put God first, and then we're always going to be about the truth always. And we're going to bring that to you to make sure that you understand everything, whether it's good, whether it's bad, it doesn't matter. We're just going to give you the truth and help you navigate through that, so that you can, feel better prepared. So that's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to jump in on that.
So, Freedom Fire, I want to share this real quick with everybody, because you're talking about calling the ball. Okay. And what Digi has explained to you, sometimes when you look at a drop, sometimes it's separate drops. Okay. So you got the call the ball thing. Okay. You've got the condition.
Well, I was going to go further.
Go ahead.
I've got a few. I've actually got more to it. So on that as well is with all of that, where what I was getting to is the Bennington itself. The big thing with it is that when it was the Patriot militia defeated a British and Allied force that was attempting to seize supplies, horses, and equipment. So the defeat ended up, becoming this whole thing. So it was, how do I explain this? The army, this army contributed to like the leading into toward the American victory at Saratoga, basically, right? Mm-hmm. So that actually produces, again, like a second historical chain into this. So you've got another thing where when you place it beside like Q drop 4360, you have like militia, civil authority questions, and then the Insurrection Act. Mm-hmm. Okay. So you're putting all that in together. Mm-hmm. So that's bringing that in to that. So you've got call the ball. You've got the deal with Bennington with the insurrection that was happening, right? Mm-hmm. Which is part of what that ship was named for in 1777. And then you've got that Q drop that like actually confirms the call the ball with the Insurrection Act portion to it. Mm-hmm. So it's just, you've got all these different things. But to me, when you're looking at it overall, it's like it's telling you that you are approaching the decision phase, essentially, right? You have to say, are the conditions met, right? Exactly. Mm-hmm. And accurately call what you see. And then I don't know. Digi was in the Navy. Digi, were you in the Navy? Was he still on with us?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I was in the. I was on submarines.
Okay. So, what do you call a landing signal officer in the Navy? A batsman. What did we just see? Scavino posting the other night.
Yeah.
Batman signal.
Mm-hmm. And ringing the bell.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, you start putting all those things together when you're thinking about this ship in particular, call the ball. And that's what this ship was, right? It was literally the mirror that's what it was made for, is the mirror landing system. And that's what it is it's the optical landing system, the OLS. They nicknamed it like the meatball or something. I don't know, but that's what it is. They say that's the reason why it's called the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But you start putting all of those things together. So that's just my little tidbit on when you start thinking historic, like history wise, getting a history lesson in that layer.
Mm-hmm.
There's more than one route, I guess, to get to something. Maybe mine's a longer route, but it's there.
So I want to play this. I want to play this for you real quick, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's real quick, guys. So listen, I can play it again.
Maverick, you're at 3/4 of a mile. Call the ball.
Roger. Maverick has a ball.
So basically, you've got, we're coming in for a landing.
Right.
Put it together with what Freedom Fire just said. Okay. Yeah. And you've got Dan Scavino rolling balls.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You've got POTUS or the White House saying POTUS knows balls.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot, y'all. It's crazy.
Yeah. Okay. So we're coming in for the landing now. So what does think coming in for a landing? Okay. What's going to start this? FISA, D-class. We're in D-class now about the election. Okay. We're not to FISA. Movie 1, start. The movies, number 1 is Panic in DC. You're seeing that currently. We're in movie number 1 right now. D5 has already started. The snowball has begun rolling. We are in the we are in the actionable phase right now because we just had 11.3 verified the other day.
That's right. Yeah.
Audience, are you putting this together now? What Freedom Fire saying, what Digi just rolled out to you, what Irish Patriot's been telling you, and what Tracy just got through reading. And by the way, I think we have a new Patrick Gunnels now on our side reading epic threads. Mm-hmm. So you do that very well. So thank you so much for that. And
I can read, y'all.
Digi writes it, and Tracy can read it.
That's right.
We are a team to be reckoned with, y'all.
And guys, it's going to take a team to save the world.
It is all of us. It takes us all.
It is.
Digi. That's why the drops say where we go one, we go all. WW means worldwide.
That's right.
Well, I mean, it does, but something else that it also says is united, not divided. And I'm old enough to remember Trump said those exact words 1 week ago today in his press conference. He said united, not divided.
Absolutely.
So I think it's real important for us as a community, or Anons or OGs or Patriots. I think we need to forget all that nonsense.
Yep.
And think more along the lines of us as Americans.
Agreed.
To be united, not divided.
Agreed, sir. Absolutely.
And, Trump's going to do everything he's got to do. He's going to do his part. Mm-hmm. But we have a role to play too.
Yep.
And that is to help and guide and lead others, like we're number 1 called to do, which is, ironically, that's actually biblical in a sense, because that's straight out of Scripture. When you think about, if you could just save one, it covers a multitude of sins,
mm-hmm.
right? So,
yep.
We have a mission, and that is to help and guide and lead and teach others. But at the same time, that is to come together as a nation, as Americans,
mm-hmm.
and everyone lay their swords down and stand together as Americans, but really as brothers and sisters in Christ. And that's really what I'm hoping, with time, that's where we're all moving towards, because that's what we need to do.
Yep.
Amen.
Because, Irish Patriot, over there, as we go through the awakening process over there where you're at, people are going to be coming to Christ in droves.
Well, you know what? This is the truth, Joyce. That's something you just, when you're talking about Christ there, is that I have noticed in the last 10 months the amount of people, especially men, turning back to God.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've had people, not coincidence, I had an electrician actually come into my house not too long ago, and he openly told me, he's like, he said he's not saved, but he says he started to turn to God more, and he knows so many more who are doing the same. And I'm seeing that frequently. I'm seeing it on Facebook, and I do see that already. So, and it is amazing. It really is great to see the people's turning back to God.
Absolutely.
Really is.
Because at the root of this, like when you, like I say it all the time, at the end of the day, however you want to word it, at the root of it, it's good versus evil.
That's correct. 100%.
It is all of it
Yep.
at the very root. And so that is what's promising.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Well, Freedom, I think I cut you off there for a second. I
No.
apologize. What were you saying now?
No. You're good. I was
Okay.
just saying that about that. Yeah. About the Insurrection Act and everything, but being in that drop and just talking about that. But no, I agree.
Well, it's exciting times. It's exciting times that we're in. I mean, it really is. It. Look, I know you see the chaos and I know the exhaustion. Trust us.
Yeah.
We get it. Because it does get, and so when you get that, my advice, this is just from me, take a day or two and take a break. There's a lot, it's a lot happening, but it's good stuff. I think it's going to get even hairier. I think it's going to start to look a lot more chaotic, but remember what Digi laid out. It's going according to plan, and it's all going to be okay. It really is.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I want to read you this final Q drop, and then we're going to end in prayer. Q drop 1402. And Anon is quoted, Mike Pompeo currently scrolling through the Rolling Stones lyrics to name our next spying op. Any request? The Anon says, this has probably already been posted, thought it was funny. And then Q responds, the hard part for us is having to wait for the public to know what we've known for a very long time. There is no bigger threat to them. Remember, Digi told you this in his article. There is no bigger threat to them than the public being awake and thinking for themselves. Why? This is what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. Why are we here? Q. And then Q follows up to itself and says, what is the common theme when bad news is about to break against them? Stay vigilant. Okay, we all need to stay vigilant right now. Now, Q also follows up by post 1401. God bless the United States. D5. Q. And we're not done yet, folks. What had to happen first? Think logically. DOJ. FBI. Think cleaning. Do you remember in Digi's article what he said about the sequence of events? Now we've got the slaughter rule now. Number 64, puzzle coming together. We have reached our cruising altitude of 4,000 foot long ago.
40,000.
40,000 foot long ago, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Now remember what we just watched about calling the ball. As we prepare to land, please fasten your seatbelts and make sure your seat back and folding trays are in their upright position. Q.
Yeah.
You better
I'm
buckle
going to
up,
interject
people.
something.
Go
I'm
ahead.
going to interject something because this is amazing. Because Digi said something earlier about what his next article was going to be, basically talking about the board, right? What's below the board. So listen to this. It's talking about the USS Bennington. It says it adds more than a generic carrier reference. The ship was the platform where the Navy tested whether pilots could safely transition from external human signaling to a direct optical reference. Before the mirror system, pilots depended heavily on the landing signal officer's physical signals. Information was indirect. Reaction time was very limited. With the mirror system, the pilot could personally see his position relative to the proper path. The pilot and landing signal officer shared the same reference. The decision became evidence-based and immediate. Do not rely solely on someone else's description. Acquire the reference yourself, and it verifies the position. and you can report accurately. And
That
this
reminds me of Think Mirror.
well, that's exactly, yeah. So this interpretation is consistent with the mechanics of that phrase, and it remains an inference regarding just how the author intends.
This plan is so large, Digi.
Yeah.
We have been in this so long, and we've been looking at these drops so many times that it's all finally coming together now. It's all just connecting now. Future is really proving past right now, and we're living in history.
Yeah.
That's why everybody says, "What a time to be alive."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is.
I actually said this a few times today in a group as well. What a time to be alive, and this is history right now
That's
that we're
right.
living in.
That's
right.
It's great to actually be. It's exciting to me after my show last week and having Josh on and just sitting there and being able to go in and like just dig.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like for real dig on things
for
and
sure.
stuff. It's like, because I didn't get to enjoy that when you guys were doing it a long time ago.
Right.
So
Right.
it's pretty awesome to sit and have a bunch of people in a chat and be able to have brains to pick and information, because things are coming at us so fast. And I love this. So yes, absolutely. As Tracy says, do it, Q.
Do it, Q. I say it all the time.
Yeah, I
But
love
listen, we got to stay together, guys. Stay
Yeah,
together.
Absolutely.
Put the BS aside, okay?
Yeah.
All that stuff, it's irrelevant, okay? We can have different opinions on different things. We absolutely can. Okay? We have the same goals. We're on the same team. Let's stay together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ignore
You
the
have to be united.
noise.
You
That's
have to be
right.
united. 100%.
That's right. That's exactly right.
So I do want to brag on Freedom Fire here just a second. And Tracy also had a bunch of input into this song too and what's coming. So if you watched our episode coming up, or the episode we're in, the opening and our ending, hopefully next week our new intro and outro will be done. And I kind of previewed it a little bit on Dawning Justice this morning. So it's so spot on. Our new songs are so spot on because we got to stay in the signal and ignore the noise and cut through all the lies out there, ladies and gentlemen. So I do want to play our new entrance song for next week, and we're going to have some visuals to it next week, and then we'll end with prayer, and then we'll get out of here and get you on over to AJP. So let's go ahead and listen.
Right now, it's happening. Another day, another headline, another story breaking through. Everybody's got a version, but it changes who you listen to.
You can feel it in the tension, you can hear it in the tone. Something moving underneath it, something nobody controls.
Slow it down.
Take a look.
Tracing justice through the noise and the lies, through the weight of the moment and the shifting headlines. No script, no spin, just calling it straight. Watching every piece fall into place. Real time, no filter,
No lie.
tracing justice. Every move, every frame, every shift in the story, every change in the game.
Side by side we hold the line, watching it all unfold in real time.
Every click can shift a moment. Every word can change a view. Every angle hides a detail. Every detail leads to truth.
You don't see it all at once now, but it builds piece by piece. And the closer that you watch it, the harder it is to miss.
Stay with it.
Let it play.
Tracing justice through the noise and the lies, through the chaos of the moment and the shifting lines.
No script, no spin, we're calling it straight. Watching every move as it starts to take shape.
Real time, no filter,
No lie.
tracing justice. Every move, every frame, every shift in the story, every change in the game.
Side by side, we hold the line. Watching it all unfold in real time.
Right now,
You're seeing it happen.
no delay,
No rewrite.
right here,
Right now.
right now.
Piece by piece, line by line,
It's all there.
in real time.
Tracing justice,
Standing on ground through the noise, through the lies, through the chaos all around.
no silence,
No turning away, we're watching it happen and we're calling it today.
real time, no filter,
No lie.
tracing justice.
Steady and clear, not driven by noise, not driven by fear. Line by line, no disguise.
Tracing justice,
In real time.
tracing justice.
My
What do
girl,
you think?
My girl made that for us.
I love that.
Yeah,
That's a tune. That is a tune. Banger.
Yeah.
So wait till you hear the outro song.
Oh gosh, do you guys want to play that one? Is it a little bit too hard right now?
Yeah, let's
or-
save that for next
Yeah,
time.
we'll save that one
Yeah.
for. I'm telling you guys, it hits
awesome.
hard.
It does. It's great though. I love it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but it's
The
a
one,
hard
the one, the one you did have, Josh, on that I shared on Facebook and stuff. I actually listened to the intro a lot. I like the one as well that you had on as well before
Yeah.
previous.
That's it. That's
Yeah,
yeah.
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 So, guys, thank you guys so much for coming on with us, and chat. Thank you so much for being so active out there.
We appreciate y'all.
Yeah,
Yeah, we love you guys.
absolutely.
Yes, just y'all stay together. Stay
Yes,
together.
absolutely.
Yeah,
It-
guys.
We
God
couldn't do
bless
us
you all.
without
Thank
you
you.
guys.
That's right.
And Tracy, do you want to end in prayer, or do you want?
I don't mind.
Okay,
I don't mind.
as we tell Seth, let's end in a short prayer.
Okay. No problem.
We miss Seth tonight, but
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, if y'all just pray with me. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you so much for this time that we got to be together and trying to figure some things out. Lord, I ask that you'll be with Irish Patriot and the fight that he's trying to bring over there. Lord, just strengthen him, protect him and his people. Lord, thank you for Digi and his amazing mind. Piecing things together, explaining it so people can understand. Thank you for Freedom Fire and her many talents. And for Josh. And Lord, just we ask that you go with everybody, that all of our friends in the chat that are, faithful to us, that come every week to be with us. Lord, just please protect them and keep them safe. And I ask, Lord, that you would be with our president. Lord, just protect him, strengthen him, give him wisdom and discernment, as well as our other leaders, Lord. And thank you for everything that you do for us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Is that short enough?
Amen.
That was perfect, Tracy.
Protect
All right,
them.
guys, go ahead.
Does anybody have anything final they want to say?
I just
Thank
wanted
you
to say
guys
thank
for-
y'all very much for having me, and good to meet you, Irish Patriot, and good seeing you, Freedom
You too,
Fire,
brother.
and God bless you, Josh and Tracy. Thank y'all for having me. Sorry
Thanks,
I couldn't
Gigi.
be more participant. I'm just
That's
very
okay,
good.
you were
I'm doing
great.
the best I'm
You
doing
were
the best
brilliant,
I
man.
can, guys. Doing the best I
Yeah,
can.
yeah.
Good
You
to
were
see y'all.
great. And
Thanks,
thank
Gigi.
you for Irish Patriot for coming on and being
Thank you
here
guys
with
for having me.
us. Absolutely. We'll have to do
Appreciate
it
it.
again. Yes.
Definitely. I love it. Thank you guys very much, honestly. And Freedom, nice to meet you. And Digi, good to actually speak to you.
Good to talk to you, buddy.
Amazing.
You take care, man. God bless you over there.
You too, man. God bless.
All right, guys.
And
Yes,
thank
guys.
you too, Freedom, for coming on with us and helping
Yes,
us.
absolutely. Enjoyed it. Always.
Yep, we love you.
We love you.
All right, bye, y'all. We love
Yeet's
y'all.
not here, but he loves you too.
Oh yes, absolutely.
All right, guys, and remember, we got to remember, let's go make fishers of men. Let's go save some souls, and let's go save the Republic. Thank you,
Amen.
guys.
Bye,
God
y'all.
bless.
You thought you could bury me. Thought the dark were closing. You were wrong. You don't know who I am, and you never will. You drew the line in the dirt and flame. They said I'd break, said I'd shame. Whispered threats through a locked back door, but I've heard sound before. You pushed and pulled, tried to crack my back, but I don't collapse like that. I don't run, I don't bend, I don't bow to fear of men. When the dust clears, you'll see you never buried me. We're not backing down, we're holding the line. Truth will be heard, not just whispered in time. You can't stop this, we will not fall. When justice rises, it answers the call. You thought you knew what I stood on, but this ground's been here too long. Stealing the blood, fire and breath. I don't scare easy at talk of death. You don't know the weight I carry, or the hand that stands behind me. You can shout, you can lie, try to crucify, but chains you swing and stones you throw only make the pressure grow. We're not backing down, we're holding the line. Truth will be heard in its own time. You can't stop us, we will not fall. Justice is coming, and it's coming for all. You thought you could take me down. You don't know who I am. I don't stand alone. God holds my sword of truth.